and I'm going to be using the semicircular arc, the semicircle through 2 points, and the circle of a radius with center. And so the first thing I did was put in the points A, B, and C, and then I came to the circumcircular arc through those points, and this gives me this line here. I then used the same tool, and this time by using the tool I was able to come up with this arc. And it's important to understand that Kowhaiwhai patterns are really using things such as koru, which are all based on fern fronds. And so this is the basic type of pattern that we are going to try and make here. I then made these 3 points and used the semicircular arc again and created this, then this, and now you can see the koru pattern starting to emerge. The next points were these 3. So I started to come down to form this part of the frond, and we ended up with this line. I then put in these 3 points, and this generated, and now I'm going to create a frond here, and then I'm going to connect these 2 fronds together. So now then I go up and select the semicircular arc again, and this led to this piece, and then the next 3 points generated this, and now you can see the koru frond happening, and now all I have to do is reconnect this around to here, which has now happened. So there's the basic outline. I also put in the line Z, AZ, which goes from here to here, and now I am going to be able to reflect this. So I'm now going to get rid of all the points. Now in traditional Kowhaiwhai patterns, the koru are supposed to be white, and then you can use red and black to fill in. Now I'm going to reflect this through the y-axis, so I'm going to put in x equals 0 first. I'm now going to use my tool, and I'm going to select the piece that I want to reflect by right-clicking and highlighting, and I'm going to click on the reflect through a line, and I'm going to select my line. I'm going to now take out these points, and as you can see now my Kowhaiwhai pattern has been reflected. And I'm going to reflect all of that through the x-axis just for this basic oops, sorry, I've got rid of all the things I didn't want to get rid of. So I'm going to have to just put those back in and then go back and get rid of the dots. Again, once you get familiar, these things won't hinder you and you'll get used to it. So I've got to take out all the reflections that I've made now. Just let me, again, you can, if you look up Kowhaiwhai patterns, you'll see there's endless types of Kowhaiwhai, some of which are easier to make than others using GeoGebra. Sometimes it's easier to hand draw them actually. And I am going to then actually put this back into Photoshop and use Photoshop to so there's, now I'm going to put a line y equals -2, and now I'm going to select with the select tool this piece, and I'm going to reflect that through that line. Looks like something didn't I didn't quite have enough shaded in, or so I'm going to just you've got to make sure you've got all your points covered when you do this reflection. There we have that. And I'm going to now again get rid of the points that have come in. I will in a separate video show you how you can use Photoshop to finish the Kowhaiwhai pattern off. So just be patient here. I could actually take this and put it into Paint now, and then I could actually export it back into GeoGebra and use that as my final, and maybe that's what I'll do just to show you here. I'm now going to remove the grid, and that I'm also now going to remove the lines, the mirror lines, and there is the basic outline of my Kowhaiwhai pattern. I would like to reflect this back on top there and back down here, and then reflect on either side. But what I'm going to do is stop here, and then I'm going to show you how to put this into Photoshop. So what I will do before I do that is I'm going to go to my arrow tool. I'm going to right click and highlight all of that, and then I'm going to store this on graphics view, and I'm going to stop this particular video here and show you, and then go back to Photoshop to show you how to do the rest of it. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to save this as Kowhaiwhai. Number 5.